last time, though, you guys were taken by that group, blindfolded, and essentially over the next, I believe, course of, how long was it? I think it was like around a week and a half, roughly, of you guys being taken from the group, from the residence, after you guys had basically confronted Stown Vespi. Blindfolded, taken across Caldera. To a ship, and much of this is hazy. Sailing down Morn's Pass, sailing down the Gulf of Dachau to Miralage, and now, well, I guess before that, there was a brief discussion as Stown and you guys were essentially sharing a cell. The overall, and if I could provide some sort of clarification as well, this group, though it was described to Anarian, the sigil that was present when they were captured, though he is still confused about the situation, I think. Whatever is happening, it is also happening to the individuals, aka Stown, that are also part of the Lothlorien/Starstrider government. So this is kind of bigger than he may have thought initially, and all of you thought. Now, sharing the cell with Stown, some information was divulged. To Anarian's surprise, Stown, he admitted, wasn't too keen on how far Starstriderhold had come in terms of new government and who established themselves after Lord Kale's presence. This sort of person that was looked at with hatred and who was assumed to have all of these traits that were, if combined, would accumulate into Anarian's hatred over what had happened to his city. Turns out that, in his words, he just thought he was doing his job and did what Lord Kale wanted, though he admits may not have been the best course of action due to the circumstances during that time all those years ago. Now, Stown is not necessarily an ally, but he's not so much of an enemy as he was before. At least this is him perceiving it. I don't know how each and every single one of you feel. You obviously feel very different, but this is how Stown perceives the situation. He doesn't.
Allies of convenience.
What's that?
Allies of convenience.
Yeah, that would be a good way to describe it in a way. Enemy of my enemy type thing. So, with that, I'm not exactly sure how Anarian and the rest of the party proceeds forward in their thoughts, but that is...
I mean, we talked about it during session 2, like Stown and Anarion had a conversation, and it simmered down a lot, I would say. You know, Anarion kind of looking for that reason to forgive him, or to not have that surge of anger towards him, you know?
Right.
So, I'd say overall it's pretty similar. Like, I wouldn't call him an ally at this moment yet, but I'd say he's definitely not... As much as Anarion wanted it to be that way, he's definitely not the enemy that he thought he was.
Yeah, and Stown kind of sees that as well. And in his sort of talks during this whole session in the cell, never really gave the impression that he... I guess I just don't want it to come across as like you guys are allies and now friends, because that is not the case.
That's not the case, of course.
And he feels the same way. Um, but there is that opportunity there, depending how things go, depending how the coming days, weeks, whatever happens, could be looked at as a, I don't want to say ally, but a player in the game, if you will. The game of restoring Star Strider Hold. I'll leave it at that. You guys had sailed to the city of Miralage. Now, stepping onto the weather decks of the ship, as you guys have now pulled in, you have moored, the ship has stopped moving. You are still hearing sounds of, the town harbor, and the various comings and goings going on there. It's when you step up to the weather decks that you actually see the city in all of its glory. There is a giant building much taller than the rest in the center of the city, and this kind of gives it away. This building called the Chambers is much like the building in Star Strider Hold. It's a various political affiliation. It serves as like the courts for the city. And then there are kind of subdivisions throughout the rest of the city, much like any sort of other fantasy city. It's in the desert, so it's heavily, as far as architecture and looks-wise, is very, I guess what you would think of, buildings in sort of the desert would look like, I guess. I don't know how to probably accurately describe that as best
Like
as...
Adobe style.
Yeah.
Yeah, like lots of sandstone.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. And
Welcome to Texas.
not so much Texas, but
Welcome to
Texas includes
Mexico.
landscape.
yeah. I'm thinking more of like Libya, Egypt, sort
Yeah.
of
Soft
thing.
dunes,
Yeah.
more present.
Yes. But this building, the Chambers, what they call it, is a dead giveaway. As many of your travels, I'm gonna say many of your travels, but just through education in the schools, you guys are familiar with this building. I mean, Miralage isn't like a very
Except for
like,
maybe Iljor.
yeah, maybe Iljor. But the city. To describe a little bit of the city, there is a lot of, especially it being on the shores of the Gulf of Dachau, has made it prime location for exportation in various things. There is also a heavy presence of the various guilds of Hrathen, though communication with such guilds would be, I don't want to say next to impossible, but it would be very hard, as this is not the Northwestern world. A lot of the customs that would apply to these guilds in the Northwestern world are different than the Southwestern world. So indicators, like you had mentioned before, Arosi, you would walk into a town and there would be inscriptions on businesses that would kind of indicate that they might be affiliated with some other guild. That custom may no longer be present, and examples of that follow.
Perhaps they use a script that he's merely not familiar with.
They could just use different means. So, walking up to the weather decks. It's incredibly hot and humid, as you would expect from being in an environment like this. You are not wearing anything but tattered cloth, as if you wore leather armor or like anything lesser than leather, they probably kept it on you actually. But any sort of plate, any sort of metal, they've stripped.
No.
Yeah, Narion doesn't have any armor. He just wears his clothes.
Yeah. A group consisting of yourselves and a few others, including Stown, are escorted down the brow of the ship, coming down to the docks. The people here are much darker in complexion and speak a sort of language that would be, I guess, from what we would look at it as, is like heavily influenced by like Latin, Spanish, mixed with some common. So I mean, that is the common.
So it's like Creole.
Different dialects as well as different usages of words, basically.
Yeah. So
Different,
sorry.
I was gonna say no, more like they have their own local slang, and there's some things that we're just not gonna understand, even if it's common.
I mean, it's the Bahasian language.
Yeah.
For the most part, I mean, common as we see it, English is not spoken in many parts of the world, though there are a lot of people that speak it. However, walking down to the docks, seeing these people of the lower to lower middle class, fisherman-esque type people, doing their rounds, going about their business, looking at you, not really intently, but almost trying to catch a glance. And a few of them you kind of look over at, and while they're not looking at you, you had the feeling that they might have been looking at you a second before, almost as if these people don't want you to know that they're looking at you. Gives you a feeling of being out of place. Obviously, I mean, you're coming from a ship with these magical handcuffs on, but nevertheless, you are led down the docks to the row of stone, which is like this. Basically, it's like another separate dock, but it expands along the actual shores, and this one large dock kind of has different piers going down. You would assume, like, you know, piers on in a harbor. You're led past that, up a set of stairs, where you are now making your way into more so of like the shopping districts along right next to the harbor, where they might sell fish or fishing supplies, things of that sort. Not quite into the city, but kind of shops that would make up this sort of area. You eventually make it to this dusty, you could call it a road, but it's not paved the way as like a modern road. I mean, people here have just kind of used these paths over and over again. So it's you guys, Stown, and then a few others that came from the ship as well, all being led down by these individuals. And during this moment, as you're led to the road and stopped, you guys do not see the sigil present on their clothing where there once was. You're not even quite sure if these are the same people that had captured you at the residence in Starstrider Hold. You could have changed hands. You could have been sold. You could have been, well, your imagination runs with the possibilities, as none of the individuals you see around you that are currently escorting you are familiar from when you had left the residence. Does anybody have any questions over the map before I move on? I showed you guys the map last time, but this is your guys' actually chance of looking at it.
So these formations, are they like mountains?
They are. Well, I don't know if you'd really. I guess they could be considered mountains, but they're not like. They're not like a bell shape where like they're very large. They are somewhat spire like.
Okay.
So it's more like a plateau or something, like just a straight-sided.
A plateau would be an example of one of them. Others would be more.
Or like, mesa, or there's a couple different. Yeah,
some of them may appear to be more so like mountains that you would see, but a lot of them are spire-like. They could be plateaus as well. But yeah, and then the dunes you see, these dunes, are just an indication of like desert. They're not like to scale or anything. So they just indicate like a large patch of desert, essentially.
Got it.
Stepping up to the road, waiting a few minutes, as you're not quite sure what is happening. A couple carts eventually come trotting down the road. These carts are essentially what you would see for back home. I mean, they're horse-drawn carriages. They have a top in the sides, so they're not open by any means. But a couple of them stroll up along the road and stop in front of your group. You don't catch a glimpse of the drivers. However, these two carts, you are being funneled into one of them. The party, you guys, are being funneled into one, and Stown and another group of individuals are being funneled into the other. As the carts are now have dropped their backs and people have begun stepping through, Stown, to your left, Anarian, begins to kind of elbow you in the side.
I listen to whatever he's got. Kind of cock my head.
I'm not sure if we're going to make it out of here, but I'm really good at talking my way out of situations like this. Find all those that you can that are willing to participate in the whatever you're trying to accomplish in Lothloren, as he begins to turn his head to look around to make sure he's not being eavesdropped on. Revisit when you are ready, and seek me where I can be found.
Here.
In Lothloren.
In Lothloren. Well, if you make it out of here, hopefully you can talk your way out.
And immediately, you are shuffled into one cart, and Stown and several others are shuffled into another.
So all of us managed to get into the same cart together?
Yes. Coming into the cart, like I said, there's places for you to sit on the side, of course, and there's no, it's not an open top. It's all enclosed. Even the back where the driver would sit, there's like a wall with a little slot, I guess, where you could see. I don't know if you really. I guess you could hold prisoners in here, like as an official use type thing, but there's no any indication that like people would be held captive. Like there wouldn't be like chains in there or whatever to like restrain people. Anyways,
Interesting.
as the cart procession starts to proceed forward, several minutes goes by as you look out the very tiny windows that are on the sides, and you can see various people walking by the shores of Miralage, kind of not really off in the distance, but kind of off in the distance. The ship's fairly close. These ships appearing to be various transport ships. I mean, cargo goods, like prime spot for exportation, like I said. Men, women, and children all wearing the same kind of garb. Either silk cloth or rags. And it's sort of an indication of, you know, the kinds of, I don't know what you call them, like togas or things of that sort. That's, depending on how clean they are, could be a sort of a socioeconomic status type thing. But peering out into this city and into this world around you, it sort of kind of runs in your mind the kind of culture that goes around here and how you're going to get out of this country and how you're going to kind of communicate and how difficult it might be to obtain, I guess, comprehension in terms of like getting your way out of here. As you proceed down the road, kind of maneuvering through the city and eventually making your way out, a man opens the slot of the front of the carriage, essentially. This man, although you can only see like the top of like his lips his top lip and above, black hair, gnarly eyebrows, sort of a middle-aged human individual. opens the slot immediately. All right, gentlemen, here's what's going to happen. We're going to be traveling for quite some time, so make sure you're stretching out your legs. First things first, you're in Miralaj, Barajas. You'll sweat more here than Dis in summer. Does anybody have any questions? Well, questions that I can answer. Any concerns?
Yeah, I'm not really used to this whole being hot type of deal. Got something like, I don't know, that I can keep myself cooler with. I am a very hairy man.
You see his eyes look to some other individual in the cart. You know what, friend? We'll see what we can do, just for you.
That'd be great, yeah, thanks.
And,
Don't worry. Later on today, we're going to be dropping you off with all of your things, and hey, we'll all make it home tonight.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I'm a Triton. I have gills, and if they dry out, it's incredibly uncomfortable. And,
well, maybe the big hairy man could sweat on you a little bit.
My salt would be, well, actually, I don't know. You do live in saltwater, I suppose.
Closes the hatch after the snarky comment.
Oh, the hospitality of this place could really use some work.
I don't know. We kind of seem like we're prisoners, so I'm not really surprised.
Well, one way or another, I'm sure we'll cut our way out of here.
Oh, there will be plenty of chances. Just have to look for them.
It's so loud, man.
Though I wouldn't start
Is there
freezing.
a skill for trying to, like, get out? Is there an escape artist? Or sleight of hand? Yeah.
Sleight of hand would probably do it.
Is there any
Whoa.
chance, like any kind of roll I can make to try and see if I can get any kind of wiggle room out of these cuffs? Or are they locked? Like, is there no chance?
You can make a roll. I would say the DC is
sleight of
very
hand.
high.
That's fine. Give it a shot.
Is there an escape artist?
No, sleight of hand would be the closest thing to escape artist.
Oh, yikes.
could also try to brute force it. It's like
I guess.
dimensional shackles, which
in-
sounds like an equivalent. Are
in
like
your
DC 30.
In your experience on the boat, there is no breaking of these things. At
Yeah,
least
I
within
just didn't
your
know if I
power.
could get my hand out.
Like I said, you can make a roll.
Fuck it. I'll make a roll. No, definitely not.
You try.
Futile.
You try your hardest, even with the sweat around your forearm, sort of kind of acting as a lubricant, trying to move up and down. You're unable to kind of, situate your fingers in a way and able to break free.
I'm gonna wipe my head and say, I think you're the only one that's used to this heat, Rosie.
Is comforting, but I'm not certain if it will be in good spirits for a fish friend.
No, my people are usually underground, so...
As soon as I get out of these cuffs, I can create water for myself, but I don't know when.
Are there other... Is it just us in this cart, or are there other
Yep.
prisoners? Okay.
Just out of the city, your cart stops. Doesn't come to it comes to a halt, but it's very slowly, as if it's slowly, or more and more slowly, slowing down. Looking out amongst the desert, the city. This isn't like a suburb or anything. This is like those are the cities like Cairo or something where you got the city and then desert. You know what I mean? With very little sort of like fade in. You know what I mean? But coming
It's very abrupt change.
Yeah, it's a very abrupt change. Not too abrupt, but abrupt. As the cart comes to a halt, looking out, you see the city, sort of, fairly close, but very far at the same time. You see the heat radiating off the desert floor, on the desert horizon, as you look out on the other side of this, not on the other side of the city, but opposite of the city, to a wasteland. As you peer out the window, off to the side, you see what would look like, in your experience, based on attire and body language, a couple mages adorned in various wristwear and rings. These mages seem to be conjuring something as faint whispers of a voice are heard from outside the cart. Shortly, the cart starts moving again. And as you peer out the windows, you see the edges of an arcane portal. As the cart passes through the portal, the heat grows probably by another 10 to 15 degrees, if not more.
Shit. We're in the middle of bumfuck nowhere now, boys.
Indeed you are. As you look out across the plain, nothing but yellowish, orangish rock and sand cover the landscape. As the cart trots forward a little bit, begins to turn and make a left. The cart stops. You hear individuals getting off, and it's circling around the back. Fairly soon, the back swings open, and you see a few individuals in armor that would be most comfortable, but still sort of overkill, just in case. As you are instructed by hand gestures to make your way out.
Well, this looks like our stop, I guess. Climb on out.
Is?
As you...
Are we still in transport mode? Or the shackles still...
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
As you begin to walk out, you sort of follow the same line, one after the other, unsure of where to go next. As the last person that comes out, we'll say in this scenario, is Iljor. Doesn't really matter. Iljor, as you take the last step out, the guard next to you shuts the back end of the carriage. Looking out, even looking back at the portal, you see this weird sort of misty arcane energy still present. As it's kind of weird looking through a portal, as you see a completely different landscape on the other side. As you're taking all of this in, the guard nearest to the first person that was out, we'll say, is Orosi. Orosi, the guard nearest to you, exclaims after reaching in his pocket, "Sit."
Orosi sighs and just kind of slowly sits down.
A very large chest is taken from the front of the carriage. This chest has an interesting shape. It's triangle. Its handles, though not regular handles, are more barbed wire-like. Clutchable, but very uncomfortable. This,
Now, sorry, when you say triangular, do you mean like a
Pyramid.
frame?
Huh?
Like a pyramid, okay.
like a pyramid, yeah.
Pyramid.
Yeah, like a pyramid. Handles on I guess this would be, this would be three sides. It'd be like a three-sided pyramid.
Like the D4.
Yeah, like the D4. So, I mean, really, three people could carry it. I guess there could be a way for fourth person to carry it, but there's no handle. It'd be very uncomfortable and be slower. But the large chest is brought out and sat before you all. The gentleman closest to you, Orosi, who instructed you to sit, as you all take your seats, and the chest is set down. Gentlemen, welcome to the dunes of Danc'hari. I believe our business is finished here.
Is it?
Holy shit, we went a long distance.
Enjoy Barajas as he turns. And very quickly, he turns, takes a swig from his water skin, stops. Oh, by the way, you might need this. And tosses it. The water skin falls on the ground and leaks the last bit of water that might have been in
Try
it.
to snatch that as fast as I can.
You snatch it as the men get back in the cart and proceed around through the portal as the portal collapses.
And we're bound still, correct?
As soon as the portal collapses, you are still restrained, but that the transport mode is lost. You are now free to move your hands. But those magical chains are still there.
We need to find a way to deal with these. I'm useless.
Once you guys get these
I as
chains off of
well.
me, I can make as much damn water as we need pretty
Well,
much. So
let's get Sylvia some water.
Yeah, Orosi hands out the water skin to
we should probably check what's
Yeah.
inside this chest thing too, by the way.
yes.
Alright, Darion's
Sylvia
going to
tries
open
to take whatever drops are left.
Yeah.
What? So we're just we're by ourselves out here in the middle of fucking nowhere with
Yep.
with the shadows.
Why is the
still on.
scene just brown, Ryan?
It's not.
Because you're not
It's-
looking at it.
You're not
right?
loaded in
You
all the
gotta-
way, probably.
You gotta load it in.
I mean, the loading bar's gone.
Scroll out.
Scroll
Yeah.
out.
That's not doing anything.
Reload.
It's just brown.
Reload.
Everybody else sees the desert, right?
Yes.
I
yes.
see the desert.
Yep,
I
of
see
course.
the heat waves and everything. I can feel it. It's
Okay.
on my face.
To describe this chest, like I said, it's a pyramid with sort of barbed wire handles. It is locked, that you can see on
Oh, there
three
you go.
sides.
What is
Sorry,
the
go ahead.
chest made out of?
It's
Sorry.
like a very mostly metal, but there are elements of wood in there as well. This chest, like I said, is three sides, handles locked on all three sides, and as you begin to turn around and go to the opposite side of the pyramid that you had not seen before, are three crusty, rusty short swords that look worn and probably, as you begin to touch, to kind of feel the sharpness of the blade, it is almost like the back end of a butter knife. It's so worn.
These are blunt weapons
Damn.
now.
Yeah, yeah.
We're dealing
Better
with
than
bludgeoning
nothing.
damage.
All right.
The
There's
only
only
thing you'd be
three?
able to cut is jello with these things. These are,
And there's only 3 of them.
there's 3 of them. And 4 of you.
Orosi's gonna arm himself with one of the butter knives.
I don't even really know how to use
A Narion will take one
Narion?
too.
Take one.
Arosi,
po-
do you think you could wait? How big are these locks, and how what is the size of the swords?
They're short swords, so they'd be like 2.5,
They prob-
3 feet max. Like
Yeah.
from pommel to blade, like to the tip of the blade.
And with the rusted condition, they'd likely, if you try to jim it, it'd probably snap the blade.
Sylvia, make a straight intelligence check.
Okay.
Binding the sun. Is there anything that happens to be in shadow right now, considering time of day?
4.
With a 4, the locks on the outside, they're fairly large, though they look simple and possibly breakable. You, being an intelligent being, though you don't quite see it now, can't foresee that being only the they're not like they can't be simple, even though they look simple.
There's more to it.
There's more to it. Arosi, as you begin to look up, these people that have done this to you are not dumb. And as you look up, the sun rests in as high as it can in the sky.
High noon.
High noon.
It is high noon. Now, as far as shade goes, you can effectively see very far, even with these like various sort of like mountains, not really mountains, but like rock formations. There are one, maybe two sort of uprooted trees of some sort that might provide a sliver of shade. Certainly no area big enough to accompany all of you.
That's fine.
Therefore, with that inference, maybe there are some places throughout here that would be able to shade a person for a short amount of time.
All right then. Arosi
I do.
looks at Sylvia. Sylvia, go get yourself into the shade. Do not dry out.
These trees, so there's no, so it'd be a walk. It'd be a little bit of a walk.
It'd be a little bit of a walk.
Yes,
All right,
these
then.
are very far away.
I think if all four of us work together, I think we can transport this chest pretty easy. Now,
With
Ryan,
the barbed
since
wire.
it's a pyramid, that means that it has 4 sides on the bottom.
It's
so
actually
we can just hold it from the bottom,
Yeah.
as opposed to using the handles that are made out of barbed wire.
I guess, but one can assume. You know what? Actually, make an intelligence check before I tell you this information.
While
bit of
everybody's
flavor.
fucking with the chest,
Wait, not to say
Anarion just kind of, I'm not gonna say he walks away from the group, but he's taking a step away, and he's going to,
Never mind.
I know he's still got the magic shit on, but he's going to put every bit of his willpower into trying to commune with his patron.
Okay.
I know it's futile, but we're gonna give it a shot.
Rosie's also, in the meantime, gonna try to see if he can find a large rock. We're in a rocky desert right now. I'm looking at the image and I'm imagining that I could find a lodestone of some sort to smash against the rocks.
Arosi, you were a thief, right?
I've worked with thieves. The best I could do is bust this thing if I had the best tools for this. Unless I break this other short sword in the process.
Oh, okay.
We might as well take the chance for it, though.
Ildor, you don't know anything with your knowledge check. The most you know is that transportation of this thing is going to be slow and painful, and it's partially designed that way. This is not just you guys being transported out to the desert and left there. This is you guys being transported out to the desert, left there with means that make it extremely hard for you to get out. It's almost like creating a disadvantage for you. Now, what was I gonna say? Who's the next person that
Arosi, trying to see. I'm seeing with the image you set up with us. I'm imagining that there's gonna be some rock sizable enough to bust the lock on this chest.
You could try.
Can I go ahead and make a strength check to do so then?
Sure.
Well, is Sylvia gonna say?
Because as it
I'm not
sees,
gonna
we have just shit options everywhere.
She was gonna ask him to log if he could.
Did
take
you
the
you made a
lock
private
or
roll?
something, but-
Oh, I made a private. Yeah, you want me to make that public? That turned out to be a 13. If you want me to.
Okay, no, you're good. A 13. As you take a stone scouring the desert floor, take a stone, begin to just 1, 2, 3, bang it against these locks. These locks are of immense. It's craft work.
It's craft work.
Is more intricate, and it is stronger than what you would probably normally presume that would come with a box like this. This box was designed and its locks specially crafted for this mechanism. It's going to be extremely hard to bust one of the locks off. And if you could, it definitely wouldn't be with a regular rock. It would have to be with some sort of tool.
I think we ought to start moving.
Yes.
Did an Arion trying to...
Yes. As you as Orosi's trying to bust the lock off, Sylvia is trying to effectively he's watching Orosi, thinking about what the next move is. Ildjor looking at this this pyramid and figuring out the best way to transport it to wherever they're trying to go. Anarian, you step away from the group, probably 10, 15 feet away, as you stare off into the desert, heat radiating from the horizon. You spend a moment looking down at your shackles, looking at the blue hue that surrounds your wrists. You put every ounce of effort into communicating with your patron. This finding some way, some circumnavigating, or some way to circumnavigate the magical auras, this magical prison that's set upon you. Almost as if you have broken open a door, almost as if you're looking at a wall and have just stomped your foot through and made a doorway. Some communication, some feeling of presence finds you. As you see sparks of where you imagine your sword be, though trying doesn't formulate. You try and you try and you try. You see almost the silhouette as you hear a voice in the back of your mind. This grunt. What is it you want?
If we're gonna make it out of this, I'm gonna need every bit of strength that you can give me.
This sputtering of magic, this sort of connection issue is dropping and restoring, as some words you can't make out, some words you can, but for the most part, I just want to see what happens.
No, you and I both know that what you want is the vengeance that you promised me, and I can't do it if I die here in this desert. So help me get out of here, help me get my friends out of here, and you'll get what you want. And I just turn and make my way back to the group. Like, turn purposefully and start marching back.
And for the first time, maybe not the first time, maybe the first time in a long time, you turn your back on him, whereas for the most part, he has turned your back on you. This feeling, for but a moment, that you're in control sweeps over you as you return to the party. Rosie's still trying to bust the lock. Eventually his attempts, he believes, are futile.
I try to address the party as I make my way back. I'm so sorry that my actions brought us to this point here, but I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that we don't end up corpses drying out in this desert.
I don't blame you.
This chest is kind of a pain in the ass.
I'm
Let
not
me
worried
see
about
if I can find any signs of anything being around.
But we must make do with what we have.
Standing ground's not going to get us anywhere. We have to start moving.
Rosie's gonna test the weight of this chest. How heavy is it? Give it an estimate. Can Rosie carry it by himself with the handles, or is he gonna need help with this, with the shape?
What's your strength?
16.
You can't carry it by yourself, no. Depending on who might help, you could maybe get 2 people, but even then, due to the weight and due to like the weight distribution in the shape. Just think of two people trying to carry this thing.
Yeah.
With
Yeah,
handles.
we're gonna need multiple hands on this.
It's
thing,
gonna
and
be weird.
a fucking pain.
It's gonna be very weird. Not impossible.
Faster with 3 as well.
Not impossible. Faster with 3, yes. But
Would
then
it be easier to carry it upside down?
Like
Without
with the
the
point
barbed
pointing
handles.
down.
Yeah.
We'd have to lift it up high enough just so that way that tip's not dragging in the sand, or else we're gonna have a harder time with
But
it.
I feel like it'd be much like, I feel like we'd be able to get a better grip on it. You know what I mean?
you would still run into the weight distribution issues, but I see what you're saying, kind of.
Because instead of the most of the weight being below our point of grabbing, most of the weight will be above the point.
And we'll be
Can I-
able to move faster like that.
Could I also make a quick intelligence check to look over this thing and actually investigate it, or an investigation, whatever the different? I mean,
Yeah.
Since I made Sylvia made a intelligence check, I'll just have you make an intelligence roll as well.
that's fine.
God damn.
God damn these die rolls.
Nope, I ain't learning shit, bro.
Again, like Sylvia, these locks seem simple. You did a little bit better though than her, I think.
Sylvia's was a 4.
Yeah, you did a little bit better.
I did twice as good.
You don't see any magical means that these would be these locks work in some type of magical way, but they're too simple to be utilized this way.
You know what's awful? Our stuff's probably in this, and one of us probably has a crowbar.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, let me
Well.
just take a look around here real quick. Can I do
Um,
a survival check to see if I can find, like, any tracks of any type of creatures or anything that may indicate us towards, some type of habitable area?
Sure.
This is my shit.
18. As you begin to sort of in a, we'll say, 60 to 70 foot diameter, like a radius around, we'll say like a 30 to 40 foot radius around
I'm
the
gonna go pee
pyramid.
real quick.
You begin to investigate and look for any sort of animals that might be tracking in this region. There are few tracks, mostly of small, I don't want to say rodents, but small animals. You find tracks that may look like snakes as well. Nothing mammalian. So the tracks don't necessarily tell you like if there's habitation.
It's like small game.
Yes. Well, I don't really call it game. It would just be like various
Things-
desert critters that you would
yeah.
find. No sort of indication to any sort of like animal that would inhabit a watering hole or any of that sort.
Seeing as the clock is ticking, closest shade is not for a while. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and try tipping the chest, trying to carry it like how Iljor suggested it. I do not know how others are gonna take to lifting it. Rosie, or I suppose I myself or Rosie should be fine. Let's go for it.
Well, my sword skills are based off my charisma, so
Let's,
I don't know how good I'm gonna be at carrying this thing, but I'll do what I can to help.
Let's try. We could have you and Sylvia double up on one side. We could have Iljor on his own and myself on my own. And then we'll take it from there. If we fail,
Try and do it
we'll
with 5
try a different strategy.
With 4 people, still, but different.
Difficult.
Well, didn't Ryan say at the beginning that it would be more awkward with with 3 or
yeah.
4 people?
Well, it's a triangular
Sylvia
shape,
could
is it?
carry it, I guess.
Like a D4?
Carry one side.
I mean, you guys carry it as long as you can, and I'll help out wherever I can. But
Yeah.
I have a feeling we're gonna have to take turns on this. So
Yes.
We should head more fucking.
Dehydration is nasty, boys.
Wait. He gave us a water skin?
Yeah.
It was
But the
not a
water
lot.
skin's empty.
Yeah,
Yes.
Sylvia drank any bit that she could out of it.
And there wasn't a lot. There was like a few drips. Like.
But water skin's made out of leather.
Yep.
Sure.
You could use that water skin as like a cushion on one of the handles.
Well, if we're gonna tip it like you suggested, we're not gonna be carrying it by the handles. We're gonna be carrying it by one of the bottom edges of the chest.
No.
Assuming.
Well,
I
you
mean-
wouldn't.
Oh, I'm imagining.
meant us. I meant carrying it with like the point down and then the bottom facing up.
There's
Yes.
no way of carrying this thing without clutching onto the handles. This is a pretty.
All right then.
Its
Then,
architecture is pretty well made in terms of like there's no other way to grab onto it. It's very awkward carry.
Well, Orosi's gonna take up the other short sword then, and then we are. Whoever takes the water skin is gonna have to take the water skin as a handle,
Or-
unless we got loincloths on and we go
Yeah,
around the desert naked.
Or do the short swords have wrapped leather handles as well?
Anarion is just going to tear some of his sleeve on either arm to make cushions for the handles.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
Orosi
possible.
will do the same. Orosi,
I'll tear both my fucking sleeves off. I don't.
The short sword has more so of like line around it. It's like what do you call that shit?
It's got a loop it goes into, but it doesn't have a full holster or a full sheath.
Yeah.
No, but I mean like
Well,
the handle.
we're
Yeah, the
talking about
handle is wrapped in what the fuck do you call that?
Like paracord.
Yeah, like paracord, but it's a different type and style of line.
It's like rope style.
Yeah.
Not
That would
not
still be useful.
still be useful.
I mean, you could. You would also have a very shitty handle for a sword.
Swords
I
are
have a very
basically
shitty sword.
We once we get ourselves to a safer location, then we'll make our decisions. Go ahead, do the honors, Iljor. Or actually, you know what? We got other swords to work with here, so we'll Orosi will cut the start of the line on one of his swords, make a shitty handle of his secondary, and then we'll work with that as well to comfort the handles, and then we can get a move on with this.
Okay, so who has the short swords? Orosi, Anarion.
I've got one. Yeah.
Orosi has two right now,
Anarion
so we'll
has two.
take the handle off of one of them.
Okay. And then you're trying to turn the pyramid upside down and carry it that way. Is there any particular direction you're heading? I mean,
Do we even know a
Closest
direction?
you don't know what direction, but there have been indications that I have given you for various things. You just want to make sure, like, if you're heading this way or heading that way.
Okay.
We should definitely go to the east side of one of these taller rocks at the very least, so that way when it comes closer to sundown, we'll have shade coming sooner for us.
You don't know which side is the east side.
Well, we are gonna have trouble with that, aren't we?
It is high noon, and you essentially just
it
have
is
to
high
pick a
noon.
direction. I was gonna have you guys roll a d8 if you were just guessing.
Closest shade. That's where I would assume we would head.
Let's go for the closest rock, and then we'll make our decisions then about which way is which.
All right.
I meant the closest uprooted tree, like the
Well-
closest uprooted tree that Ryan had mentioned.
Well, would somebody like to roll a
I got you.
d8?
Go ahead, roll that d8. It's a 2.
Okay.
The closest uprooted tree would he mentioned earlier that it wouldn't be enough cover for all of us, just for one or two of us, I think.
Yeah. Maybe
know
two.
that.
Two at most. Maybe Sylvia and like the Anarian's
One
top half.
Iljor or two any other.
Not even
characters.
Iljor, bro. Not even Iljor. Iljor's
Why
too
do we
big.
have all these big characters in the party?
However, as you guys begin to pick up the pyramid, fasten everything the way you want to, kind of prepare to venture out in a direction. You guys rolled your d8 and begin your trek through the dunes of Danc'hari, this desert land within Barajas, this hot wasteland before you. I would like Iljor
Yes.
to roll a D100.
Oh. D100.
Don't pull a rap one.
For
Hey,
All right.
hey, average. What can I ask?
as you begin to make your way towards this to the tree, right, that looked, kind of down, that provided maybe some shade, takes you around 45 minutes or so, if not longer, if not an hour to get there, carrying the pyramid and everything else that you guys are inhibited by. You make
How's
it
it feeling with our makeshift handles?
terrible, but could be worse. It could be worse. You guys could not have any leather, and you guys could have just grabbed it and began walking. So there's that. Coming to the tree, though, eventually, is essentially uprooted, dried, effectively dead, or perhaps living. You don't know what kind of tree this is. Providing a sliver of shade that could maybe hold most of one person, but not all.
Can someone try to dig under the roots and see if there's any bit of moisture?
Yeah, I'll get to work on it.
Now, how is this uprooted tree in proximity to the other things in the sea?
You mean like what you're looking at right now?
Yeah, like how close, for example, how many are we closer to big rock structures than we were prior by coming closer to this tree?
Yeah,
You know
sure.
what I mean?
I would say you guys are not really in a valley or a canyon, but you guys would be near more so of what you see here. This isn't essentially this is like a base image what you're looking at, not necessarily exactly where you
I was
are.
assuming that I was not going based off this. I was just we were in a pretty barren area, and by carrying the chest going towards this tree, we were going towards more of a rocky type of environment.
Yeah, I would say that. I would say that the tree would be situated near a cliff or something where you could effectively not really be surrounded by, but there would be rock formations around you.
Okay. Now, can I do another survival check around this area as well?
Sure.
I'm digging to try and see if I can find any bit of moisture for Sylvia.
Using the old rock and rock method,
Worse.
Arosi is gonna rock and stone. Arosi is gonna continue bashing the lock on this chest.
Okay.
I don't know if you want me to make a roll for that, or I know there's things in other editions such as Take 20 where I just really freaking take my time with bashing it, but
You could do that. You run the risk of, you're utilizing your energy.
yeah.
And you are of sound mind and body to know that
That's a bad idea.
you're weighing the risk and reward here.
I'm gonna go ahead and make another strength check, and then we'll take it from there then.
Okay.
Not much better.
Yeah, not much better. You are, I don't see you're doing some damage, but you're making marks along the lock. Not having a great bit of deal, effectively breaking it with a rock. Again, solidifying more in your mind that you would need a tool to do such thing. An area.
Ogre, I know you're used to this heat, but you shouldn't exert yourself if you don't have any water or food.
Anarian, I'd like you to make a survival check.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
19. As you begin to dig amongst the roots, a little bit here, a little bit there, you are not finding any signs of moisture. However, it dawns on you that there could be moisture in the roots.
Trying to use the tip of the sword to, shove it into one of the roots and try and pry it and break it open.
Yeah. You take one of the swords, take the tip, take the edge. It could cut like a little bit, not really. You're not doing. That's not. I mean,
really, what I'm trying to do is basically take it and stab the root and try and bend it and twist it so it pops open, like breaks apart.
Yeah, the bands and strands within these roots are held together tight. Okay. As you're able to kind of dig up, pierce into, and kind of break, as you kind of feel along your thumb towards the inside of the roots, and you feel a dampness. With enough shavings squeezed, you may be able to get a few drops of water, but that again would also be time and energy exerted in doing so, but not necessarily would be futile if you could get some sustenance from it. Even just taking the shavings and like putting it in your mouth and chewing on it like gum would be at least beneficial.
Well, I kind of gesture to Sylvia. It's not amazing.
I'll take anything.
But even putting a pebble in your mouth to get saliva to produce could help.
Shaving down the root into like a shredded cheese type little handful. You give a little bit to Sylvia to chew on, as doesn't taste great, Sylvia, but your mouth is no longer dry.
That's me, some of this.
I'll do the same thing for everybody. Do what we can.
Yeah.
So no success with the survival check here.
12. Again, you don't see any. You see the regular desert critter tracks.
Oh, forest.
Yeah, tree ant you see off in the distance.
Oh, the what?
You have your regular desert critters. You come across a couple tracks that you are unable to identify. Looks fairly large, and it's almost like it skitters along the desert floor. Either this, or what you could probably presume. What did you roll again? 12?
12.
This thing probably has many legs.
Motherfucking desert centipede.
It's large. Not as many as like a centipede, but a good amount of legs to skitter along the desert.
Well, guys, I found something kind of big. Might be a guide.
Oh, it's been some time, because it took some time to take the walk over to the tree. So where's the sun? Where's the sun at?
As you look up, the sun appears to be setting in off center from the crest of the sky, and it appears you roughly may have been heading in the northeast direction.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we know something's up in there.
Do I have a general direction on where these tracks are heading? Then, like what direction?
Looking at the sun, figuring out where the tracks are headed. You could maybe roughly say they're heading east-ish.
I'm guessing with my roll that I can't tell which direction they were heading, just that they were traveling along this path. Typo.
They were traveling in the desert, but based on the sun, in the direction
Like
they could be going, it could either be sort of northeast or it could be southwest. You don't know, based on the tracks, which direction it was heading.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
If I could tell based on the tracks which way it was going.
Right.
How strong, Neuron. Well, how strong are these roots?
You're muted.
How strong are these roots actually?
Weird.
I'm curious.
I mean, it's dead wood, mostly dead wood. It's not. It's hardened.
We could perhaps
drying
hack
out.
a bit of the hand, and we could hack a bit of it off, and might be able to make a little bit better a handle than the scuffed.
Well,
I don't know that it's worth the energy.
But we could also perhaps find a way to apply pressure to this the top of this chest to get it to bust open. But I'm only trying to think of ideas.
Well,
Is this lock external on the chest, or is it like built into the chest itself?
It's built in, but it's wedged in. Like it has a place. It protrudes from the chest a little bit.
It protrudes from the chest.
Yes.
so it's like it's slotted into it.
Yeah, it's like slotted into it.
We could also use this spare short sword that we've taken the wrappings off of, and use that as a tool. But I can't guarantee any results out of it, whether it's picking or if it's bashing the thing.
You said
Well,
that the locks were big.
I think our goal number 1 needs to be trying to find some water before we die of thirst.
In a desert like this, I don't have a lot of hope.
Yeah, is there anything else you guys would like to do in this area before trekking on, just to kind of move things along a little bit? You do have the roots. You could come up with something with the roots, and then of course Ildor's tracks, but it's completely up to you guys.
Do you think it'd be best to travel during the night?
Yes, it will be definitely cooler. It could get definitely cold for some of us, but
I would heavily prefer that.
We would, yeah, would be drying out near as easily.
We need to find somewhere to wait out the time till then.
We must. We'll start to travel at twilight.
You want us to sit here, exposed, for like 5 hours?
The sun has moved. We've realized we're moving in a northeast direction. So, if we can find some shade now with the movement of the sun in our direction, is a little bit greater than what we have. And that would be
are there some nearby rock formations that are like tall enough that would give us shade?
Yeah, or we could even do a little bit of digging as well.
What did you ask me something, Sylvia? What do you mean?
Yeah, are there rock formations nearby that would be tall enough to give us any shade, since the sun has moved a bit?
Not right now. I mean, the sun is still fairly high in the sky.
Okay. How long's it been?
A little over an hour.
Okay.
Well, minding that the sun has moved a little bit, Narion's done some digging under this dead tree. We could lift up one end of this chest and use it as a makeshift lean-to, and then provide cover for those of us who can't withstand the elements.
I really would suggest that we follow these tracks rather than just sit here.
Following the tracks of what?
Of a small animal?
It's not a small animal, that I can guarantee you.
I think that's even more reason to not follow it. We are in no shape to defend ourselves if this creature ends up being deadly.
I am. But any risk to us at this point is a matter
bit
of
of energy
endurance.
that we waste.
And imagine the reward this thing could give us, though, full of blood and flesh.
What if it's something that's just really, really dry? You know, we don't even know.
We could be fighting a big bug for all we know.
Right.
Even a bug will be wet
It did
on the
have
inside.
kind of like a skittering type.
I mean, we could eat it for something, but I don't know if it'd be worth it. I agree with the Narion here. I think it's probably best to just keep traveling in either the direction we've already been going, or go along with.
Then we keep traveling. Then we'll go find the next spot that's better for us.
And then as the time passes, shade will come in.
You don't like this one bit? Let's get a move on then.
Yep.
Making the decision then to continue moving and then find soon to be shade at the very least.
Okay. As you guys took a quick pit stop to kind of get to lay the land a little bit more, you eventually, I'll say, Anarian, you grab a little bit more of the root as it may not dry out, too quickly. You can maybe use it for the rest of the day, but by tomorrow the brew will probably be dried out. Getting a move on, moving through the desert, trekking for another 30 to 45 minutes. And which direction? You guys were still going northeast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through various small valleys, mostly open, arid desert, as beads of sweat that you were not conscious of but are now conscious of kind of flowing down your temples and dripping off your chins. This heat is something that has not been seen by the likes of even Arosi is like, damn, this is hot. Like, this is... It's not necessarily as miserable as everybody else, but it's still god-awful. Moving along, Ildjor, you see the same tracks off to your right. As you're more of like coming to the sort of open of a cavern. Or not a cavern, like a valley. Like it opens up a little bit.
It seems like we ended up following the tracks of that thing anyway. They're over there.
You've been walking for, we'll say 45 minutes, 30, 45 minutes at this point.
Okay. So we didn't follow them on purpose this time. We just coincidentally happened to end up heading the same direction.
As you, now as you make this sort of known to everybody else, what's your passive perception, Ildjor?
Probably pretty high. My wisdom's. I don't know what passive perception would be listed, but
it's in the parentheses on the right.
Yeah, it'd be to the right of
your skill bonus.
Of your skill bonus, yeah. Basically 10 plus your skill bonus.
14.
As you
Mine's 14 too.
As you look amongst at the tracks, this sort of movement in your peripheral vision, as those of you with 14 see it, turn your heads, which kind of leads everybody else to turn their heads. This movement under the sand. As you can see, fluffs of sand kind of pop up. Very, very slightly pop up. And then a few feet after that, fluff up a little bit more. As you can see it kind of coming around. The sand begins to settle. And you don't see it anymore.
I don't like that. Let's find some rock to get on.
Let's find a rock. Yeah.
Is there like nearby rock surfaces we could just walk onto?
You could climb up something.
We said we're right near the entrance to like a valley. I'm assuming.
No, you're coming out. You're coming out. You could try to climb. They don't look unclimbable to get to a higher elevated area.
Get off the sand at least.
Is there something?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, as you begin to sort of run, sort of around 15 to 20 feet, in the direction where you can climb up, this wall is, fairly high, but not too high, probably like 15, 20 feet. As you begin to, put hands within the rocks and kind of basically free solo this wall, as best as you can. The others. What's that?
It's a climb check. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't think was climb 3.5.
It'd be athletics.
Well, I'm not gonna make you make a check, but like, wasn't there an actual?
No, normally, like in a situation like this, a climb check.
I think so.
I'm not gonna make you roll a check. It's out of combat.
All right. Yeah.
However, as you begin to kind of climb and eventually make your way to the top, Arosi and so a couple others of the party, now that Sylvia has made it up and kind of tested a little bit, begin to try to go up. As this happens, Ildjor, you see from your peripheral vision this fluff of sand pop up, as not only is it just a small fluff of sand, but this very large abstract shape begins to form as the sand now, it appears as if something is lifting out of the sand, this black,
pushing up.
Yeah, like pushing up this black sand, like this blackish sandstone-ish color begins to come out as you see a very large insect. Pincers.
It's a motherfucking scorpion.
Exoskeleton flowing to a long tail hanging.
God damn it.
I knew it.
Well, that's not good.
Looks like we got meat on the menu, boys.
Let's pull you to the scene.
Let's go to the fucking goddamn crime scene. Or we're about to get fucking killed. You gotta kill this thing with these swords, bro.
That's not just a large size class, that's huge size class.
That's giga.
Yeah, hide.
That's 20 feet by 20 feet. Jesus.
It large. Everybody can see this, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Sylvia, you are on top of the rock formation.
Yeah.
Is this like
Wait a minute. Are there
this?
cacti? Are there actually cacti out here?
These are sort of like dead cacti, we'll say. Because I didn't envision any cacti, but this is the best image I could find.
Okay.
So what is this, by the way?
Can you actually fully see that?
Yeah.
Yes,
Uh,
it is visible, and Sylvia's hiding under it.
So is this one, and this one.
That one is notable, and that one is notable.
Weird. It's like There we go. Sorry, I had to fix my stuff. That is a boulder.
Oh,
Just chilling there? Okay.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah, it's near the edge.
Are we all
You're-
at the bottom still?
Yeah, you're not below the. As you can see, it kind of coming off.
If we can line this thing up with that boulder, we can throw it onto it.
Who would like to roll for initiative?
I'll
got
roll.
you. Oh, never mind.
Iljar, go for it.
Ildor rolls for
I thought
initiative.
Basic said he got it.
Oh,
I can't roll.
My initiative is +2. We're going +2, guys.
Actually, I'm gonna.
+3, I'm rolling.
Yeah.
Go
Why do we let Ildor roll?
I was
Why
told
did
to
we-
roll.
We'll let basic roll because he called it. Hold on.
No, I
Better.
was told to roll by Sylvia.
yeah, Basic called it first. I didn't realize.
Yeah, I was. I got to it first.
I don't know, I rolled the die before you did.
Wait, I didn't realize Ildor had a +3.
Raph is trying to argue to get his 11 initiative.
Basic called it. Everybody kind of. We'll say for now. Fucking. It doesn't matter. The Scorpion rolled a 3. Doesn't matter. You rolled.
We're good.
You still rolled higher.
Yeah, we are ahead in initiative. We got this.
Okay, so. Oh, don't worry about the time. I don't know. I left the time.
Don't worry about the
Uh-oh.
Iris
Here
That's
we
the
go
timer
again,
before
boys.
Narion dies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We go again.
All right then. So looking at our situation here, how tall is this cliff?
15,
that we're
20
next
feet.
to? 15, 20 feet. We could perhaps scramble ourselves up there if I assist everyone to get up here, and then we could have them teamwork, get this boulder down while I'm occupying the Scorpion. Deal?
All right.
Let's go for it.
Sylvia's just gonna
Well, no,
aid
you should be the
people
one to go
climb.
up there, and then we
Yes.
are
Well,
surrounded
yes.
Scorpion.
But who else here is armed to take on the sucker? All right.
Who
Now
else
get
here
up
is
got a
there.
strong
short
enough to
sword,
push
but-
the boulder?
I'm up. Come on. Okay.
You could climb.
I-
This is where we'll start inhibiting checks.
Yeah.
To do so.
I have a 13 strength. It's probably best if we're gonna actually try to push a boulder over that Orosi comes up.
I do not
Yeah,
like this.
I have an 8 strength.
Fine then. I will climb up there myself, and since I am not encumbered with my armor, Orosi's gonna hand his.
I am going to aid him.
Yes,
You can
Orosi's
use a
gonna.
sword.
Yeah, Orosi's gonna hand his good short sword to Iljor.
What
And
does he
then,
do?
he's
Does it
gonna,
give
climb
advantage?
up. Do you want me to make an athletics check for that, sir?
Yes.
You're saying he is a dragon and he does have claws. I feel like that should.
10
Oh, help action. It's
You make it
actually the
up.
help
It
action.
costs all of your movement though.
costs all my movement. All right then. I still have my actual what's the word? Standard action, regular action.
Yeah,
whatever.
it's advantage for that next check.
For that next check, then, I suppose then we just get ourselves into position to push this boulder and wait for our friends here to.
Well, you wouldn't get advantage for the boulder. You just get advantage on this check that you made.
Oh, for getting up, or pushing the boulder when it comes.
No, she was aiding you to get up.
Oh, to get up. Okay.
Yes.
Are we gonna account for that then, Ryan? Do you want me to roll another d20?
Wait. How did you get there?
Because
he used his standard action to dash.
Okay.
But Sylvia
did say she was aiding him to get up, so he would have had advantage on that athletics check.
So if would you be cool if I do another strength check then and take the greater?
Strength check for what?
The athletics check.
For the athletics check. Because Sylvia wanted to do the help action.
Because she did. I heard her say she was aiding him before he rolled.
Okay. Then sure, go ahead.
All right
then. Nice.
Okay then. Well, it's gonna be 10.
Nice.
Dash action, get myself into position to push this boulder, and then I will wait for my friends to do their stuff then.
Okay.
These rolls tonight.
Try and get around underneath the boulderish type area. Try to taunt or get there.
An Arion will do the same thing. Here, step over. Start waving at it. Come over here, you big bastard.
I whack the sword against the rocks.
This is so dangerous.
Oh man.
Okay.
Oh, I sneezed on the boulder, guys.
Does that complete everybody's turn?
Yeah.
That will probably complete our
Next
turn.
round, it paralyzes both Rap and
You-
Anarion.
You guys didn't know, but it.
Push the boulder on them.
You guys didn't know, but it has a bow and it begins to shoot you.
Scorpion-sized longbow just.
The tail actually is just an extendo tail.
Oh, I'm dead.
Well,
It'd be
we're
pierced.
inside its body. Yeah, we're inside its body.
I've got
You
my
guys are
mouth
right
on
under it,
the
like
claws.
it's getting right up
What the
into your
hell?
face.
This goddamn
Oh, so
land
it's on
lobster.
top of us, like basically on top of us.
Huh? No, you guys are like under the claw.
We're like no, but we're inside its threatened square. Like we're inside the box that it occupies.
Look, man, let's look at the model. All right,
Let's look at the model.
you are under
Let's,
the claw. It would make sense if you were like right
Yeah,
there,
okay.
but I'm gonna put you right there. You know what? Yeah, we'll keep it there. Whatever. It's gonna roll to attack. It's gonna use both claws.
Attacking who?
14, Anarian?
Remember, you don't have your armor.
Remember, you have
It's
nothing.
It does hit, yeah. I don't wear armor anyway.
Unnatural 20. Iljor.
Yeah, of course that hits. Even though I am still wearing my armor. You said
Get my
if you
mage
haven't-
armor on.
And Anarian, you take 9 points of bludgeoning damage, and Rap, you take 7 points of bludgeoning damage, and I need you both to make a athletics check.
I can't do acrobatics.
No.
Boy, howdy, I'm good.
Oof. These rolls, man.
It has to be
oh my
athletics.
God.
Yes.
Oh, man.
As it claws both of you with its pincers, you have failed the DC, and you are both grappled.
Oh no.
How close are we to its face parts?
For how large it is, you wouldn't be able to hit it with your short sword.
Okay, that's what I was.
Let's just get out of
Maybe
here.
able to hit like the claw.
Yeah, let's just make off with
Just-
what we got here.
These
These guys are screwed. Fish and lizard as a team.
So it's not attacking with the tail.
No, it just. I mean, it has 2 claws attacks. It could attack you with the stinger, but like it's got you grappled now.
So then I'm gonna
Well,
make an
let
opposing
us go
grapple
first to
check.
try
Yes,
and get out of its
yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
grab.
Yep.
Go and make your checks that if you are fucked, you are fucked.
Is it another athletics?
Yeah.
Yes.
Eljor, there we go.
No.
Oh.
Iljor, as it's trying to get a good hold on your Firbolg body. It finds a semi-comfortable way, but eventually, as you struggle, it begins to, with the weight distribution of Venarian in you, begins to, have like struggle to keep you in place. You break free, however, Venarian is struggling.
Can I make an attack while I'm in this thing's grasp? Or
You could.
Can I attack it? Yeah, I'm gonna try and do
with
that.
disadvantage. With disadvantage.
That's fine. I don't have the weapon, so I'm just gonna roll 2d20, and it would technically be at a -1. So 2d20 -1.
Oh!
Okay. So it's gonna be 14.
14.
Don't forget you have those advantage buttons next to the roll button.
14 does not hit, just barely. I'm actually going for, like, most of the stats on this thing are from the monster manual or from the book, so it's...
Right, Scorpion, yeah, it's a pretty common.
Huge.
Now, Ryan, I have a question for you. Did that use my movement?
I would say use half your movement.
Okay.
Help get me out of this thing, Iljor. I'm
You guys-
trying to stab at the fucking...
Can I try... How do I feel connected to my innate magic from my bloodline? From my Firbolg bloodline?
How do you mean?
Because I have the ability, innately, as a Firbolg, to turn myself invisible. Do I feel like I would still be capable of that, disregarding these shackles?
This is like a racial ability?
Yes, it
Is
is a
it-
racial ability.
Does it
It's called Hidden
fall under?
Step.
Does
I
it
can do it
fall
twice a
under?
day.
If it's
Spell
a-
like ability.
If it's a racial ability, and it's inherent, like... You've been able to do this twice a day?
3 times a day, actually.
I feel like this
As
has
a
been
bonus action-
used in many situations.
As it's a bonus action, I can turn. Oh, it does say magically invisible.
Yeah,
3 times
would be
per
magic.
long
It is
rest, and it
magical.
lasts until the start of my next turn. That is why it is not that useful. It only lasts for.
He flickers.
Still pretty good.
Yeah. So no, are you gonna say it does not work? I does not feel like I'd be able to do it.
It is listed as Firbolg magic, so it is magic still.
Yep.
I'm just checking because it hasn't come up. Like there literally hasn't been a situation where we'd be able to use this. with these
Yeah,
shackles on.
I want to say because it's a racial ability and inherent, that it doesn't come from, like,
An external
it's not
source.
it's not conjured, if that makes any sense.
Uh-huh.
I'm willing to okay that.
Okay. I want to use the hidden step ability.
Okay.
I want to come up to this thing. And since I'm invisible, can I just attack with advantage and just like stab it in the eye? Because being invisible gives you an advantage on your attacks.
Okay.
Like I'm just gonna,
Yeah.
turn myself invisible, come up and just right in the eye.
Sure.
Okay. Again, like my now this attack would be using my dexterity to hit it. So,
Why?
it's a short sword is a finesse weapon. You can use your dexterity to attack with it.
Really? Oh.
Okay.
For future reference, breaking out of a grapple it takes your whole action. But
You
it
have
doesn't
advantage.
require.
Oh yeah,
it
I
doesn't
have
take
advantage.
movement.
What is it? What is it again?
Breaking out of a grapple uses your action. It doesn't use movement.
Okay. Noted. 14 does not hit. You guys are very close, as many of your attacks coming down upon this thing with your rusty short swords are just bouncing off the exoskeleton of this thing.
But I'm right up in its face now.
You are.
Plan B. I would rather not crush my friends here. Rosie's gonna swing around the other side of the rock, get a closer look at the situation. perhaps take a couple steps back and then run and jump onto this thing and try to hold back the pincer to see how this will go. Or not the pincer, the tail. And try to restrict the thing.
Superhero landing on this.
You're gonna grab the tail like it's a running fire hose or something.
Actually,
You're gonna run at the tail. Yeah.
No, you can do that. I'm not. This is not like a. Are you sure you want to do that type moment? This is like. Is this what you're doing?
This is well. Here's the thing. My thought process is if I go and try to just stab this thing, it has this very flexible tail that could just fucking poke me anyway, point blank. So
Cut the
yes.
tail off.
Yeah, actually.
Remember, you have the bad short sword.
I do also have the bad short sword. Yes.
But you still have your fire breath. You can still use your fire breath.
Yeah.
If my fearbook invisibility works, his fire breath works.
My fire breath is a biology based.
Yeah, we already discussed that's an organ.
Yeah.
So Rosie's gonna hop onto
firebox.
this thing. Do you want me to make any checks the first place for that? For just landing on this thing?
Fucking acrobatics.
Yeah, you're gonna wanna remove combat timer, bro. Hold on. You said just manage modules.
Well, I don't know. I feel like having it on there tries to keep us like going faster. I don't know.
I like having the timer there. Oh god.
It's all good.
It's spooky in
Ryan.
Ryan's place.
It's all good. It's
Ryan,
coming
we've
back.
gone to the abyss.
No, you're coming
Help.
back.
Uh-oh.
Water, sentinel.
Foundry's having struggles, I assume?
Yeah,
No, I
Ryan, see-
deactivated that fucking module. I'm back.
You're back.
Is everybody
Ryan, I
else
see
back?
nothing.
We're back.
Oh,
I'm back.
wait.
Yeah.
Ah.
No, because that one's all the way down, and then it's like annoying. Go ahead and make a.
There's acrobatics or there's athletics. We could do either.
I will have you choose, and yeah.
All right then.
If you choose.
Rosie is gonna use athletics then to get on top of this thing.
Jesus
11.
Christ.
11.
We're bad. We're bad.
We're
As
bad at
you,
this. These die rolls fucking suck.
as you run off the cliff and try to jump on, and you were trying to grab this thing like by the tail.
Try to land on top of it at the very least, and then maybe move forward with what I was gonna do after the fact.
As you run and jump off both feet, landing on the giant scorpion, however, losing your balance in the process. It moves down slightly just from the sheer force of you falling on it, as you are then kind of tuck and roll several feet from the scorpion.
The scorpion take his fall damage?
No.
Damn it.
Rosie did become a projectile.
Do I have an attack action still to work with?
Yes.
And bearing in mind, I do have 2 attacks available as well.
Okay. Yes. You can make an attack.
All right then. I do not have shitty sword or short sword. Do you want me to? Let me add that to my inventory real quick so I can poke that out.
Shitty short sword rolls with a disadvantage.
Rolls with disadvantage. All right then.
All the time, bro. Is
Attack, disadvantage.
Also, where is the chest at?
Still not bad.
22.
I'm assuming it's down below. Like, you guys couldn't have, like, dragged it up. It'd be by like an Aryan or whatever.
Okay.
With disadvantage, it's a 22. Why is it adding 2 plus 3? Oh yeah, it's because I have proficiency.
Roll damage.
Rolling damage.
22.
Rolling damage for that one. 5 damage.
Right.
And then for the second attack, disadvantage.
Hey.
18 hits. Damn.
Holy shit, my rolls are lucky.
who knew once we got the fighter into combat, he'd be able to hit it.
Another 5 damage.
10 total.
Now, were you targeting something specific, by the way, Basic? Or just-
Yeah, the scorpion.
I wouldn't do a. I probably wouldn't be able to make a cold shots beyond.
Well, just because
hitting
he
the thing.
specifically mentioned he was trying to grab the tail earlier, so
Yeah.
I was wondering if he was specifically trying to take
He's
the tail.
hitting the scorpion.
I'll save my hijinks for the next round.
Is that everybody's turn? Sylvia?
Sylvia.
I haven't gone this turn. This is the second turn, right?
This is
second
You
turn,
were
but
trying to escape.
you were trying to escape, you
Yeah,
didn't, and then
yeah,
you
you
actually
tried
you
to
still
attack him.
attacked.
Oh yeah. You're right.
Sylvia really doesn't have any tools available at this moment, so
Well, technically, I have innate spellcasting as well.
I do too, but it's useless.
It.
I can cast Fairy Fire on it.
I could
Yeah,
cast
I can
Gust
make
of
it
Wind.
glow.
I can cast Gust of
perhaps,
Wind and shove it 15 feet.
I mean, that might work. I might get it to drop me.
Uh,
You also could just use that on the boulder whenever we get loose. You don't even need a strong boy up there.
Yeah.
True. I'm gonna ready an action.
By the way,
Okay.
that's not useless. Any attack rolls made against an affected creature that's affected by fairy fire have advantage if the attacker can see it.
Oh shit. Well, that would give us regular rolls.
Yes.
So I'm gonna ready Gust of Wind to. So as soon as Sylvia sees Anarion and Ildor out of this thing's grasp and away from the boulder impact, she's gonna Gust of Wind the boulder, I guess.
Okay. And
It is a strong blast, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right,
Yeah,
that's your
that's all I'm
turn.
doing.
Moving on to the scorpion. Who is going to
He's gonna munch on my forehead, bro.
try to
Actually,
grasp?
he's gonna munch on my forehead.
He's gonna try to grasp Iljor. First off. Oh shit, not that. Um, 11 points of bludgeoning damage to you, Anarion, as you are still in its grasp.
Okay. 11, you said?
Yeah, 11.
God.
Doesn't quite hit you with its claw, Iljor. However, it is going to try to kind of whip its tail back and hit Rosie with its tail. 19.
that definitely hits.
Yeah, especially considering you don't have any armor on.
I have a 12 AC right now. It is a rough time. The next level, I'll probably make some adjustments, but oof.
Dealing, well, nine points of
God.
piercing damage, and I need you to make a con save.
Con save.
Don't get
right.
poisoned in the middle of the desert, basically. Please, I swear to God.
14 con save, and you said 9.
14. Yeah, so 9 points of piercing damage, and then 7 points of poison damage.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
That's a rough.
Party's turn.
All right, let me go first real quick. I'm gonna actually cast Fairy Fire on it because that's also a drow thing.
Okay.
Which, what it does is it says each object in a 20-foot cube within range. Oh wait, it says object. Oh, any creature. Okay.
Yeah, any creature.
So it becomes outlined. We'll say it's in because of the way my magic is, it's outlined in like a purple hue.
Okay.
Of light, basically. If it fails a dexterity save. So I believe, because my spell DC is 14, it looks like.
Okay.
So it needs to pass a DC 14 dex save.
Can it pass the dexterity save because it's literally holding onto an area?
Well,
Like, I mean,
He could be for as long as
Narion's
this thing
physically
is.
touching it. Can it actually evade the spell?
we'll say for sake of rules, yes, because I don't want to fuck an Aryan here. I understand where you're coming from, but I don't think it's impossible for him to completely evade the spell.
Okay. I'm just...
No, I don't think it's... Yeah. I think it's possible for him to evade the spell, and since there is that slight possibility, I will have him make a
Okay.
dexterity saving throw, right?
DC 14.
Okay.
Nice.
5.
So now anybody that attacks it gets advantage, which just means they get flat rolls because of the shitty swords.
Yeah.
No, that means that means that a roasty gets normal rolls. We get advantage.
I get normal rolls. You guys.
No, we don't. We're using the shitty swords. He said the shitty swords.
The only one who has disadvantage is basic. Basic is using the one that does not have a handle.
Let me clarify something. The only people that have disadvantage is Nick because he is currently grasped by the scorpion, and it was a Rosie because he has a shitty sword with the shitty hits.
Well, I figured all these swords are shitty. I forgot that we took the hilt off of one.
Yes. So Ildor has a regular unaltered sword that
I got you. So his would be advantage. Okay. So since we've done this combat this way, am I still able to try and break out?
Yes.
That's just an action.
Yes.
Okay. And it is athletics.
Yes.
Let's try it.
Oh!
Hey, that's one better.
As you're able to effectively move your arms and then effectively wiggle out of this scorpion's grasp. None of you are currently grasped.
Now you said that was half movement when Rap got out. Is that the same for me?
I'll keep it for this combat and then we'll make the changes.
For this combat, that's what I figured.
Bear in mind as well, I do also have the opportunity for minding your guys' movement. I do also have a bait and switch, which allows me to swap places with you once.
I'm just gonna get to the edge of his box this way, so that's 15 feet. I'm not trying to provoke an attack of opportunity, basically.
You're good.
I am gonna try to stab it in the eyes again.
Ildor, we should probably get out of the boulder's way. Let the boulder deal the damage.
You can get off to his side and then attack him, or attack him and then get off to the side.
Yeah, attack him and then get off to the side.
Okay, then I'm gonna back up.
A Rosie.
Are you leaving it?
This one.
Okay.
Okay.
Not there.
Okay, so I readied my action to do the gust of wind.
Okay.
So as soon as I see them separate from the scorpion,
a Rosie.
Dropping it on the boy.
A Rosie's gonna. I'm gonna go ahead and make an attack roll real quick. I'm gonna do distracting strike. So I'm gonna try to strike it with a weapon, and then let's see here. Add the total damage. I should have read this ahead of time.
Yeah, that is not what you want. Really,
I expend one superiority die to distract the creature, giving my allies an opening. You add the superiority die to the attack's damage roll. The next attack roll against the target by an attacker other than you has advantage if the attack is made before the start of my next turn.
Yeah, if you let me do that, I have Elven accuracy, so if I get the attack off, I get to re-roll one of the die, no matter what. Because I have advantage.
So Rosie is gonna go ahead. I'm gonna make my attack with let's see here.
Let me reread Elven accuracy real quick just to make sure.
22.
Yeah.
2.
Expend what is add to the total damage roll, and then next attack roll.
So you have to roll your superiority die as well.
Yeah, I'll roll my superiority die, which is a D8, and then that will be added to the damage and the attack roll against the target.
As well as advantage.
As well as advantage. That's a 2.
And do I get that attack too?
It's only for the next attack, so either we're considering it for you or we're considering it for the boulder, so...
Oh, is it?
It's only for the next attack.
Was the boulder an attack, or...?
Is the...
it doesn't give me an attack, though.
It doesn't give you an attack.
Sylvia readied her so she is just of winning the boulder.
Definitely. Oh, it does say that just the next attack roll. I thought it gave you an attack,
no.
It just gives you advantage on. Never mind.
Yeah. Y'all go with this, Ryan?
So there's a lot going on. I'm not familiar.
All right, so let me go ahead and take it from the top here. I'm using distracting strike. If I hit with my weapon, which I have rolled a 22 to hit,
which you hit,
I can expend one superiority die to add to the total to the next damage roll. Let's see.
So you're adding to Anarian's damage if he hits, essentially.
No. I'm not attacking. It's Sylvia's rock.
Oh, Sylvia's rock.
Okay, so the superiority die damage is actually added to my roll, but the superiority die also adds its is added to the next attack roll to the target.
Well, as Sylvia doing her gust and the rock falling isn't an attack.
No, I wouldn't. That wouldn't be affected by that.
Then we're just gonna consider it for flavor, and I've expended one of my superiority die.
Well, it's gonna be whoever attacks it next. It's not just flavor.
So it's still,
so my superiority die is 2, so
Get
the
your
next person
asshole off the camera,
has a
dog.
+2 as well as advantage to hit.
Okay.
And I get a +2 to damage from the superiority die.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and roll damage.
Nice.
9 +2, so that's gonna be 11, and that will be my turn as a Rosie.
Okay.
Look at this fat fucking
What about your
cat,
extra
dude. Look at
attack?
this
Are you
fat
not attacking
man.
again?
Look at that fat cat.
This
I've
fat,
got a cat.
chunky boy,
That's
dude.
like-
All right, Sylvia, now's the time.
Basic, are you not attacking again?
Let's see here. It's only the one time hit with a weapon attack. I suppose I can attack again.
Oh, you just lick me, dude.
It has to be other than me that hits the next attack roll, so this will be fine for me.
He's swinging
20
his
hits.
butt.
He's an asshole. He does this all the time. I'm allergic to him,
He just wants to play, man.
dude.
He
He
loves
just wants
you.
to whip me in the
Look at
fucking
it.
face.
Look at that fucking cat. He's gonna spray you. You're gonna get high off of it. I know it.
All right.
He don't got no nuts.
Oh.
Nice.
Again. That one's
Nice.
not
There we go.
+2, that
Damn.
one's just 9.
Hi, big guy.
So that one's so 11 and 9 for my damages, and then the next person to strike has a.
Let's resolve this boulder.
Yeah, do the
Resolve the
boulder.
boulder.
This boulder, please.
The boulder does not take any questions.
As you hit this scorpion, piercing its exoskeleton. Wow, it was just that track that was fucking loud. As you pierce the scorpion's exoskeleton multiple times, it turns to you. Sylvia, as you cast the gust of wind, this force of air, as Anarian and Ildor see it kind of scuff and flow off, this big cloud of dust and dirt falls off the edge and begins to fall as you see the boulder just not fly through the air, but it's pushed off in a manner that when it falls off, rolls onto the back of the scorpion. The boulder, this giant rock, falls, crushing the back end of the scorpion into the sand. You can see it try to burrow, its legs, his back legs skittering. It could burrow, but it's you can see that it is gravely injured as you see its front pincers begin to within inches of your face, Arosi. I will drop combat. It is immobile, alive, but unable to move, and
So is the tail crushed under this as well?
Yes.
I'm just making sure.
Yeah, once this thing's under this boulder, Anarion yells out, "Let's kill this bastard!" And he runs over to it and tries to.
Well, it's going to be his turn now because he's still.
Oh, I thought you said you were dropping combat. My bad.
I did say, but he can still attack Arosi. So he's going to try to attack Arosi one more time. If that fails, I'll move it on to your guys' turn, and then you can like separate away.
Okay.
We can have our way with it at that point.
15.
15 does hit.
That is 4 points of bludgeoning damage, and I need you to make either an athletics check.
That is not the number I was looking for. Athletics check. All right. This is the stuff I excel at. The movement, the grace. 16.
As the claw reaches out and crushes sort of like the waist down area, it's the state that it's currently in, it has very weak claws as you're able to just kind of brush it off to the side. You are not grappled, thankfully. However, it is now your guys' turn.
Now let's kill this bastard.
I try and act like I'm going for the back of this arm that it's using to attack Arosi.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Guy.
If you don't have advantage, everybody has advantage now.
Do I get double advantage?
You do not.
I'm gonna step up to do the honors. If anybody else would like to.
I'm gonna also roll.
Oh,
Oof.
That's
Oof.
a 1 in 400 chance, by the way, if anyone actually watches these videos.
All right then. Hitting with advantage on my shitty short sword. 25.
It's
What is the critical range? Or is there a critical range for a short sword?
no.
It's
no
only 20 and 5e.
It's only 20 and 5e. Gotcha.
Yep.
So again, because of my elven accuracy, I get to actually hold on. Let me double check because I think it might be dependent on the ability I use.
I thought elven accuracy was only for bows, but
No, it sure is anything.
Actually,
So it is.
oh, no.
Yeah, so whenever you have advantage on an attack roll using one of these modifiers, you can reroll one of the die. It's Dex, Int, Wiz, or Charisma, and normally it would be Charisma, but right now it is Strength. So no, I
well,
miss.
you can use dexterity to attack with a short sword.
Can I?
Yeah.
Yes, it's considered a
Okay.
dexterity.
Well, then
weapon.
that would be a 14 on the higher number.
14 does not
And
hit.
I can reroll one if it is dexterity, so I will reroll one.
A
It
14
is
does
plus
not hit.
2 instead. That's fine. I still get to reroll one. No. Okay, 10.
He's got all these chances to roll.
No, if I have advantage with elven accuracy and I use one of those abilities, I get to reroll one of the die.
Sweet.
Oh, I thought you were meaning for damage.
Basic.
I.
Are you gonna hit too, Ildor?
I
What
did,
are you
I
doing,
missed.
buddy?
Okay. Aros,
You're being a menace.
how would you like to finish off the scorpion?
Arosi's gonna flip his shitty short sword. This is a
Shitty
tongue
short
twister.
sword.
Shitty short sword. And he's gonna plunge the thing straight in it, into its head, assuming that's where the brain would be of this thing.
Absolutely.
And just crack it open like it's a crab or lobster, as you would imagine.
It is a
Gotcha.
big land lobster.
It is a big land lobster. As you walk up, its claws becoming increasingly weak, as one of them is even dragging across the sand, as it's just you could see sort of blood coming out of its in between the rock and its body. Incredibly weak. You walk up, shove the short sword down into its through the exoskeleton into its brain, crack it open. Like as you described, a lobster, and you've effectively split its front.
Dude.
And you're actually
Being a
pretty
menace.
surprised for the bluntness of the short sword. The hardness really helped cracking the exoskeleton. But after that, we will drop combat.
You know,
All right.
Sylvia's gonna
apparently
slow
this is
down.
the thing that we were following. Now, the
Let's-
real question is, does anyone know how to cook a scorpion?
Do we even have means to cook at the moment?
I never knew what a scorpion was, so
It's
We've seen lobsters, haven't you?
well, yeah.
It looks pretty
What's-
similar to that. It's
what's
like that.
lobster?
It's like that, but land, and it can stab you with its stinger. They're they're not fun.
A poisonous land.
Once
Well-
again, I don't think we even have means to cook at the moment. So I think if we're going to survive, our best bet is to manage.
Let's take one of the couple of the claws off this thing, some of the meatier parts, and then we'll probably harvest one of the dead trees so we can light on a fire during the nighttime.
How
What are we going to use to light a fire?
How sharp is this pincer?
I can breathe
Oh,
fire.
Or not
You
the
know what-
pincer, not
you
the
know what?
pincer,
You've
the
got me there.
stinger.
You've got me there.
You don't. It's crushed under the rock.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Having
yeah,
the stinger
yeah.
would be nice. Having a little poison dagger to stab someone with.
Yeah, all we got is the big
Well, it
meaty claws.
It wouldn't produce venom anymore. It's dead.
Yeah,
The
but
venom
you can
sac
still
is
use
still
the
in the stinger.
You could get.
sharpness.
Yeah, you could still stab. But the poison won't work no more.
I ideally would
Although-
use it to try and maybe pick the
Now
lock.
that we have all
Yeah.
these boulders
it depends
here,
on the strength of the stinger.
Uh,
I don't know.
could we use these boulders to perhaps crush the chest open? But we don't want to harm the contents inside.
They are probably our contents.
Probably our content.
Well, let's gather some
right.
food and
Yes.
find something that we can use to cook.
Yeah.
So I'm
We
seeing
can
some
use to
shadows
light a
here.
fire.
Are these relatively accurate to how significant the shadows are?
No, but they're a little bit of shadow. They're a little bit of shadow.
We could definitely hug the walls. Definitely at
Yeah,
the,
we'll just
for
do
the
that as
time
we're
of day.
talking over what we're
To
gonna
cool
do.
ourselves.
after the encounter, though, I will say, taking but a small moment to kind of gather your thoughts and figure out what the plan is going forward. The desert has not changed much over the trek so far. The actual thirst for water, following this very encumbering encounter, is now a constant conscious thought in the back of your minds.
All right, bud.
The sweat still beating down as you are feeling wet in many parts of your body, and not the good kind of wet. After that, the levels of exhaustion that were once upon some of the members of the party have effectively gone away, because it's been a little while since a lot of you took it. But each person will take one level of exhaustion following this encounter.
A single day?
What's that?
After a single day in the desert?
Yes. Not even a single day. This is a few hours of walking with encumbrance of the chest and fighting a giant scorpion.
And no water.
And no water.
Okay.
Or food.
We have disadvantage on ability checks.
Yeah, all ability checks have disadvantage.
All right.
That's rough.
Boy, this heat is really hitting me in the personality.
That's why I think it's a little bit extreme for Ryan to do that after a single day.
Again, it's not even a single day of it's a single day added on to all the bullshit that we've had to deal with out here.
Yeah, we've had a lot of work coming in.
You'd be pretty fucking tired too.
The emotional.
Especially with how hairy and sweaty you are.
You are in the middle of the desert, moving slowly than you would normally on foot, having to carry this chest. You've effectively been walking for at least a few hours now with this chest. In
I don't know how much I can stress
leather,
with no water.
With no water. With leather that you found on the hilt of a sword.
My sword.
Yeah, let me remove the combat.
Let's
It is a short.
Let's crack these big meaty claws off this thing, and we should perhaps wait for twilight before we start moving around a little bit more and get to work on this thing. This is valuable.
So you said it's been a few
moisture.
hours though. So what time would we guesstimate it to be at this? 3 o'clock. 4
If you
o'clock?
started here at noon with the sun as high as it could be in the sky, approximately 3 o'clock.
Okay, so there's probably starting to be some decent shadows around.
We should also mind our manacle situation as well, because we could perhaps break those, but at the risk of well, I hate to say
You
it.
could break the
perhaps
manacle, but lose a hand.
Lose a hand.
Smash it with a boulder.
Do you know if it's safe to eat the eyes of this thing?
We could find out. I'm not sure. If we
Survival
want to test
check,
that.
Ryan.
Eldor, make a
Yes.
survival check.
Can we eat scorpion eyes? Delicious.
Or do you want this to be a nature check?
Survival.
Nature would be knowing about the animal. Survival would be knowing what parts you can eat.
Disadvantage. Roll again.
Difference between knowing it and
Oh yeah, you do have disadvantage. No.
Okay.
Still 23.
With a 27, Eldor, to the best of your knowledge, as far as desert scorpions go, there isn't any inherent danger with eating the eyes. Yeah,
Full of good
I
jelly.
guess
there.
you can eat the eyes
they,
if you
they
want
don't
to, so,
taste. No part of the scorpion is going to taste good,
Yep.
but there's not any inherent danger in
You
eating
can't
the eyes.
do it. Should you do it? Eh.
Sylvia is gonna eat the eyes.
At risk of death, yes.
I'd like to make a con save, Sylvia.
Oh no.
You could throw up. They don't taste good.
Yeah, but throwing up has other consequences when
should it be
you're
at disadvantage?
dehydrated
Oh,
and
it
having a
doesn't
bad
matter.
time.
As
Saving-
you
don't have disadvantage on saving throws, only ability checks.
As you begin to grossly extract an eyeball from this thing, it sits in your hand. Though there is moisture behind it, the glands,
Yep.
whatever the glands produce. as you begin to take a bite, almost like an apple.
Oh. What's that big? Dear God.
Well, you're eating it like an apple, you know.
Oh.
As you, feels like you're biting into a jello ball, this black jello ball. Immensely disgusting. Your appetite is immediately lost. Your mouth is now the inside of your mouth is now covered with this black jelly that is
Eyeball
wet.
juice.
That is wet, but has the flavor of the flavor you've never tasted. This is like blood, and it's like the iron blood of this thing. It's like you have a mouthful of pennies, and it's like the consistency of Jello.
This was nothing like lobster.
You immediately throw up what little. You throw up what little you had of it in your stomach. This water, stomach acidity, further dehydrating you, as you see this sort of liquid in the sand. It's not good.
Well, we need to hurry up, cook some of this food so we can get something back into us.
How do you plan to cook the food?
So, like, kind of like you'd cook a lobster. You cook the shell of it, and then you fucking take whatever's on the inside.
Yeah, we're gonna take one of the big meaty claws, or a couple of the big meaty claws, rather.
Both of them.
If there's any dry dead cacti or any trees that are dead trees nearby, gather up the dry pieces, create a pit in the sand, set said tree bits on there, and then Rosie's gonna breathe fire onto this stuff. And then we're gonna cook the stuff with a shell on, perhaps resting it on the fire. I don't think we should use the short swords as the spits because rust. But
yeah, that's
the idea I have in mind.
I agree.
Okay, as you begin to extract the claws and what you believe to be meat within it, gather up the things over the next period of time, however long, 30, 45 minutes, maybe like an hour tops, to really gather everything and extract the claws and kind of break them open. You extract little meat, a lot of muscle tissue, fatty tissue.
Hey, that's food.
Yeah, it's sustenance, and it does not taste good. I won't have you make con checks for this. It's not necessarily an eyeball.
It's actually gonna be cooked.
It's not an apple-sized eyeball.
Cooking it though is very difficult. But it could be done.
Make a check in regards to that.
No, I mean it's possible. Due to what you guys have, especially with a Rose's Breathe Fire, you'll eventually get it done at some point. So I won't have you roll checks for it. There's not a whole lot of sustenance. There's little water, but it's better than nothing. It's not enough to satisfy you, but it is enough that you won't die of starvation.
It's not nothing.
It's not nothing.
All right.
Well, what now?
You guys probably have another few hours of daylight. A couple hours of daylight.
Keep moving.
So we were coming this way, right? Like coming out of the.
Yeah.
Going this way.
Yeah. If there's but the next best idea I have is to continue whacking at this chest. We do have nightfall to wait for as well. Hey.
Watch your terminology there, buddy.
You watch yourself, buddy. I'll watch myself.
I would like you to roll a D100. Sorry, Rosie, you can continue.
Yeah. He's having us roll for an encounter table. This asshole.
Actually, percentage.
So, with this shitty short sword, what are my thoughts on what are Rosie's thoughts on using this thing to either wedge or perhaps jam it, wedge or jam it into the opening of this chest to see if we can pop it open?
You're not exactly sure how this thing opens.
You're
You're not exactly sure how it opens, but there are locks. There is some mechanism behind opening it, but there's no like latch and lift type thing.
I see.
Continuing forward though. In the last few hours of daylight, as we
Oh, are we continuing? I thought we were staying.
I think we should keep moving.
Well, we should probably wait until dusk, so that way we're not moving in this heat. Yes, we'll be cold, but we'll be moving and creating heat for ourselves in the meantime.
Okay, so you guys are staying until...
I vote that we stay put until dusk before we start making any moves.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a terrible idea. Let's keep moving around.
Okay.
I'm very comfortable in the cold, so yeah. I
stay.
agree with that.
I may not be comfortable in the cold, but if that's what you guys think is best, then...
Alright. Well, as you begin to take some sort of rest, some sort of makeshift area to sit and await twilight, as you guys had said. The sun slowly sets. The air remains hot, but the temperature begins to slowly drop. You guys were heading out just after dusk. So
Yeah.
around that time, as the skies begin to grow dark in the first few little stars begin to poke out from the night sky. Gather your things, gather the chest. You guys venture out. The temperature for roughly, you can expect for maybe a couple hours to be somewhat decent until it starts to get really cold. Walking out, it is not quite as dark. Let me bring up, because I want to see what kind of moon it is. It's about a half moon, so there's a fair amount of light. Now, as you're tracking,
the Chiefs won the world. The Chiefs won.
Oh, really?
Yep.
The Chiefs won the world.
Dang. What a prize.
We'll do this.
The Chiefs won, eh?
Now,
38-35.
as eventually the night sky comes to fruition, it is still kind of twilight, so you can still see fairly far out. You see a dark silhouette appear on the horizon. A humanoid silhouette. Still far away. Very far away. The area around you is...
notice this?
Yes.
Everybody sees this?
Everybody
Okay.
sees this. Because there's, as of right now, there's not a whole lot around you. You have moved past a lot of the rock formations and things of that sort. It is open desert. A dark silhouette. At this distance, doesn't seem to be moving, but obviously is moving, I think, just due to the optical illusion of it being far away. But you see a humanoid dark silhouette off in the horizon. Moving more towards it, various other dark silhouettes begin to pop up from the horizon and begin coming into distance.
Is there like an international gesture for peace?
Yeah, it's this.
Open palms. We are not armed. Actually, no, we are armed.
Yeah, it's this, dude.
Yeah.
There's not. Let me think about that. I may
Oh,
have,
Lord Helmet.
yeah. I might have to come up with something like that in the future because I never.
Because if Iljor knew that thing, that's what he would do in this case.
If there was, I don't know if Iljor would know it. Maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't. But
yeah.
his mind is elsewhere right now. As I don't think I would implement an international sign for peace with the different cultures and the way I have the world set out right now.
I mean, there's not even one on Earth.
True.
Like different hand gestures mean different things everywhere.
But
Yeah.
I mean, hand, I think is pretty good idea.
You choose to raise your
Yeah.
hands.
Yeah.
All I can say is open palm tends to be pretty decent, showing that.
I don't like surrendering ourselves to strangers in the desert, but after that last bout, I don't think we have much choice.
If it means water for the moment, then we'll have to put up with it.
So, as you begin gesturing towards it, hands up, arms up, trying to gather some sort of attention, this figure populates in the sense that there are more figures start to pop up around 30 or 40. Drawing closer, these figures begin to take more of a shape. The figures are slouched, slightly off. Almost as if their center of balance is sort of shifted. 20 to 40-ish humanoid figures with this grayish yellow skin and tattered clothing, dragging their feet across the desert floor. The Danc'hari undead are searching for their next meal. There aren't many places to hide, as this is mostly open desert. There is a fairly large boulder that, if squeezed together near, that you guys could somewhat hide behind, as this army of undead spread out along the horizon are making their way towards you. And
This is fucked.
And it doesn't seem to be apparent that they noticed you yet. Well,
can I use channel divinity?
Do his god listen?
Would a god speak to him if he had no access to magic?
I mean, I could just try if you don't want to tell me.
Yeah, you try.
Alright, so Sylvia's gonna tell the party to hold back. And she's gonna move up within
Be pretty close, I think.
30 feet.
Oh fuck! That's gonna give their.
So she's gonna sneak up.
Let me just say,
There ain't no way you're sneaking up.
there's no way you're sneaking up. If it's
Okay,
30
yep.
feet,
Yep.
to even attempt it would be... Sylvia would never do that. I don't think Sylvia... Because they would see you, and you're not even really sure if this is going to work.
Yeah.
It is they are undead, and there's not a lot of things to hide behind and sneak up with.
If you really want to try it, you can roll for it, but just know the consequences.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say no.
This is definitely.
If they end up surrounding us, then maybe.
Alright,
but right now we
This
should.
is the definition
yeah.
of fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
You're at level 10, bro. Like, you maxed the chart out.
I'm not gonna say it's impossible, but I'm not gonna say no.
She's going to wipe away those risky thoughts and walk
Let's
back.
go hide in a boulder, boys.
To the
I
party.
thought I made risky decisions.
You guys choose to hide behind this makeshift.
It
this little.
seems to be our best option at the moment.
As you begin
dig
to sort of make your way as fast as you can, really, upon seeing this sort of this line of undead hiding behind the boulder, able to squeeze. It doesn't provide you like an circle of cover, but it's something that's
Wait, we're 5th level. Okay, I have an idea. As they get closer.
as you hide behind this boulder,
Somebody help me dig down.
It's silent as you eventually begin to hear the dragging of feet. Pretty soon, you see off to your left and your right figures begin to move along the same line, the same plane that you guys, and pass the line where the rock is.
Oh, so like we can see them like going like this, like we see them pass one side of the boulder, and then we see them.
Yes, you see them pass like this way of you, like you're looking and you can see them.
Yeah, so they're really close.
They're not super close. Eventually, though, they're kind of far off, but in a few moments, you hear the dragging of feet close, fairly close to the rock, almost walking next to it, pass right by you. Walk. This stench of death fills your nostrils. This putrid flesh-smelling scent comes up into your nostrils and just fills your brain with rot. As it's sort of like what's the word I'm looking for? Like twitches a little bit, stops, turns its head up. It looks behind, and as you look into its face, you see 2 empty sockets where its eyes would be. Its jaw completely gone, its tongue hanging down to its Adam's apple. As the face looks up and to the left, to the right, then forward, and continues on as the undead begin to pass you. And eventually, the last one passes, and they continue down the dunes of Danc'hari.
How many it was total?
Oh, approximately as they passed. Oh man, Iljor, as you sit there and you counted during that encounter, you counted 37, but there easily could have been double, if not more.
Yeah, because I mean, there's so many that we wouldn't have been able to see with like the boulder in the way and everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
The undead scouring the dunes of Danc'hari for their next meal pass by you, and eventually, when you feel that it's comfortable, look up and over the boulder to the empty wasteland where you guys are heading. And I will end the session there.
Oofers.
Spooky.
Hell,
Spoochy,
bro.
spoochy.
Big spoochy.